Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The subject of the discourse today is how to live a very meaningful life where one realizes the true significance of one's existence here in the world. A meaningful life based on a meaningful philosophy, which is unselfish love based on wisdom, not on emotion or some doctrinaire approach or some dogma, religious dogma and so on. No. Unselfish love where you seek nothing for yourself, you don't seek any benefit or any gain, and love for its own sake, which is unselfish and based on wisdom. Now this is part of the series on metta, the Buddha's discourse on universal love. It is a continuation, with the 16th in the series today. Now, King Pasenadi, he visited the Buddha, as he visited many other religious heads in his kingdom. Now, a little bit about his life would be useful to understand his character and how he benefited from the teachings of the Buddha to make his life truly meaningful, and therefore made it a state policy that life should be so lived that you get the best out of it and create a society that is as meaningful as the meaningful life of each member of the society. So he had been a big general. His father was King Maha, and he was an emperor. He believed in conquest of state after state, and his son happened to be the general, the commandant general, and he was a very, very skillful general and a skillful administrator, a very skillful politician, as well as a connoisseur of art, where he loved all the beautiful things in life. So Prince Pasenadi, after his father's death, with all this experience in politics, sociology, and arts, with very good education in every field of knowledge in his time, he ascended the throne and he said, look, all the experience of my life has been that of a military man and of an administrator, of a politician, and so on. Now I have to rule over these people. It's a big empire. So I have to gain some kind of wisdom to be able to bring about unity among my people and a good relationship, a benevolent relationship between the royalty as well as the common people. So he used to visit various religious heads and in order to learn something, some wisdom, some moral excellence from them. So there were at that time, 6 very famous religious teachers. Now, by the way, in the time of the Buddha, there were 64 religions in India. So it was as varied or even more varied than we have today. We have just hardly a few world religions, and many sects and subsects of the different schools of religious thought. Now, he noticed that he visited a particular famous teacher, and the teacher believed in self-mortification. He was a naked ascetic, very ascetic life, and he preached asceticism by means of various penances, which amounted to self-torture and just injuring oneself bodily, and that is how you thought by self-mortification you could have control over the mind. So this teacher had a big following, and they all believed in physical torture as a means of salvation. Then he made another teacher just the opposite. This teacher believed in all kinds of pleasures in the name of religion. He believed that as go and have nice, indulge in all kinds of killing in the name of religion. You kill various animals, big feast in the name of religion, and enjoy. Eat, drink, and be merry. And his philosophy was not only enjoy pleasure in the name of religion, but actually it amounted to materialism in the name of religion. He not only taught, animal sacrifice and this, that, all kinds of rituals as the end of life, but he also said, well, when you die, you carry nothing with you except, your body is burnt off and you die, finish. Some kind of materialism. Did not believe in rebirth. But there were others of the same thought, but they did believe in some kind of rebirth. So he had been oriented in all kinds of religious thoughts, and he had been visiting. As a man of very shrewd and prudent, as a very prudent observer of human affairs, he noticed wherever he went that both the teachers as well as they followed the thought, they were they carried themselves in a very serious way, unsmiling, deadly serious, and never smiling, not relaxed at all. Now, then he thought, well, all these religious teachers are very serious, tensed up, not relaxed, and I don't really get anything out of their teachings. So he had heard about Lord Buddha and how he taught the path, a middle path. He called his teachings as the middle path approach to life, to get the best out of life, to make life truly meaningful. So, he had heard, so he went and met the Buddha. He saw that he had a large, Buddha was staying in Jetavana, and he had 12,500 monks living with him. Most of them were enlightened, realized beings. And he found them very relaxed, very smiling, cheerful, seated, and not at all very carrying themselves seriously and tensed up and all that. They didn't believe in practicing all kinds of physical mortification, nor all kinds of, ritualism in the name of spiritual life. None of those. He found them very relaxed and happy and cheerful. So when he visited, he saw a large number of these monks on both sides of the Buddha and a very large number of lay people in front of them. They were meditating very relaxed and very calm. So now, he also noticed that these people carried some kind of a seat with them, either made of mat or made of cloth and some such thing. No matter whether it was a rich man or a poor man or a big man or a small man, they carried this humbly, and they went to hear the Dhamma, to hear the discourse of the Master. So, he also went. His officials carried some kind of big carpet for him, and all that. He sat down. But as usual, he used to argue with all the other religious heads. So he asked the Buddha, "Most Venerable Sir, Bhante ji," in our modern terms. He said, "You see, Bhante, I see all your disciples, whether lay people or monks, they are very relaxed and very cheerful, not at all serious. They are meditating calm. They carry themselves with a lot of, very charming and cheerful attitude in everything. Whereas I've been visiting, for years together I've been visiting different religious heads and all that. Whatever be their religious doctrine or belief or practices, they carried themselves with plenty of seriousness. As though the whole world is falling, the sky is falling over their head. Very serious, unsmiling, not at all relaxed about their religious doctrine and practice. How come that your disciples are just the opposite? Why? What makes them so cheerful and happy?" So, the Buddha, he said, "Well, Maharaja, great king, you see, my disciples live a life of middle path in this way. They never bother about the past. They don't allow their minds to wander into the past and repent about all the past misdeeds or thinking, oh, I should have done this, but I have not done. I should not have done this, but I have done. So repent all the time and worry about the past. They wander in the jungle of the past and worry and repent and never relax. So these monks and the lay people, they have learned a method of living a life, meaningful life, where they don't care about the past. They just learn important lessons from life about past, but they don't repent. Keep on. What is the meaning of repenting? You just get angry with yourself. That's repenting. Oh, I have not done this. I should have done. I did this which I should not have done, etc. Remorse, sense of guilt, carrying the load of guilt on their head by living in the past. So now, my disciples don't do that. Nor do they brood about the future. Oh, I must plan, do this, do that, get this, get that, accumulate this, accumulate that, fight with this adversary, in this way or not that way. All kinds of planning and brooding over the future which has not come. So the Buddha said, the past has gone, it is past, never to return. It is just not there. It's not real. Similarly, the future has not appeared. It may or it may not. You may cook up stories of all kind and plan up this, plan up that. But nothing is predictable in life. Life is basically unpredictable, uncertain, because everything is changing from moment to moment. Life being kshanabhanguram, momentary, changing from moment to moment. So you can't really predict that what may happen. You may develop a whole big machine of, different of activities and planning and all that. In the last moment something will happen, the whole thing breaks up. Living itself is unpredictable. You never know what is going to happen after half an hour. You may die, you may live. All kinds of things can happen. So, it is absolutely unnecessary to brood over the future. And it is absolutely unnecessary to, repent and to indulge in a sense of guilt and remorse about the past. No. They live in the present, relaxed and happy, delightful at every moment. So their mode of religious life is based upon remain jagrata, awake, mindfulness. Be mindful and heedful from moment to moment. Whatever you are doing, if you live from moment to moment, relaxed and happy, that very moment becomes spiritually charged. That becomes a spiritual act. Spirituality is not a bunch of religious practices, religious rituals. It is not just carrying a big burden of learning, yet not living what you have learned. It is not showy, arambara of all kinds of things. No. It is as simple as live in the now from moment to moment. And if you have trained your mind to do that, that is spirituality, which is more than religious practice. Religion is required. Without that, you can't perpetuate values of life, perpetuate morality, perpetuate even spiritual traditions or mode of living. But that doesn't mean that it gets solidified into rituals or learning and all kinds of external practices. No. It is basically living a moment-to-moment life of awareness, life of jagrata, heedfulness, alert mind. So that whatever you are doing or saying or thinking, that very moment becomes spiritually charged. It becomes spiritualized. So this is what they have been trained. They practice satipatthana, the path of mindfulness. Remain alert from moment to moment and turn every action into a meditative action. So Buddha said, the core of the teaching of the Tathagatas is sati upathanam, cultivation of mindfulness, cultivation of a mindfulness of universal love. Metta sati, cultivate a mind filled with unselfish love from moment to moment. Then the Buddha gave an instance how this wisdom-based unselfish love can be lived from moment to moment. He recited 4 gathas, verses found in the Dhammapada, which I will now recite, both the Pali original texts, the original teaching of the Buddha in Pali language, and the English translation thereof. Now, these gathas are found in a chapter called Sukha Vagga, the chapter on happiness. It is the 15th chapter of the Dhammapada, which is a collection of 423 verses of pure wisdom to be applied in day-to-day life and make the most of life most meaningful life. So it is said, Susukhan vata jivama verinesu averino verinesu manusesu viharama averino. Happy indeed we live, friendly amidst the hostile. Amidst hostile men, we dwell free from hatred. Susukhan vata jivama aturesu anatura aturesu manusesu viharama anatura. Happy indeed we live, unafflicted amidst the afflicted. Those afflicted by craving and greed and hatred, jealousy and egotism. We live free from all that. Amidst afflicted men and women, we dwell, while living among them, we dwell free from any inner affliction in the form of greed or hatred and delusion. Unafflicted we live, happy, cheerful from moment to moment. Susukhan vata jivama ussukesu anusukam ussukesu manusesu viharama anusukam. Happy indeed we live, free from avarice, constant desire for wanting this, wanting that, covetousness, greed, lusting for this, seeking that. We live free from avarice amidst the avaricious. The world is filled with avaricious people, and that is why the world is filled with conflict and suffering. So long there is avarice and greed and wanting to accumulate whether worldly power, worldly possession or money, but accumulate knowledge, accumulate information just to boost your ego. That's an affliction. So happy indeed we live, free from this kind of avarice, whether for possession or for knowledge. Free from that. Being free, we are happy. Susukhan vata jivama yesanno natti kinchanan piti bhakha bhavisama deva avassarayatham. Happy indeed we live, we who possess nothing. Vairagyam, tyagam, possess nothing. Non-possessiveness mind. Feeders on joy, we shall always be like the radiant gods of the Avasara Brahmaloka. So here and now, a person can live the godly life, can live like a god, though a human being, even better than the god, just by living a conflict-free life, a life filled with friendliness, free from hostility. While living among hostile people, yet be free from hostility and live happily. We live in a society, a pluralistic society of multi-cultural, multi-religious, multi-ethnic, multi-gender, all kinds of multi. In that we live. And yet we are so mentally unified by the philosophy of unselfish life, love, based on wisdom. not on knowledge. Knowledge is useful, my dear, it empowers the mind, but it can be a burden. It can bring so much of egotism. My goodness, the world is filled with that kind of conflict because of egotism of knowledge. Our leaders keep on telling us, oh, it shall be a society of knowledge. And what is that? Keep on accumulating. Keep on a pleasure-driven mind. Never thinking that life is impermanent. That one day we all must quit. We are all in a queue. It is only a matter of time when we will be the first one in the queue and get kicked. That is all. That is right. So why run after things that bring conflict, that defile the mind, that bring suffering to oneself and to others? But this is the approach of spirituality as taught by the Buddha. So now this king goes there. He has been visiting all kinds of religious people, being very observant, a king and a general and all that sort of thing, very accomplished. He is so much impressed by the sheer relaxed life, the humility that comes from relaxed life, the joy that comes from relaxed life, and the relaxed life based on unselfish love, which is based on wisdom, not merely knowledge. Wisdom means ability to see through things. Before you actually do something, you know the consequence of what will happen. If you indulge in hostility, in anger, in hatred, you know the result will be pain and suffering, not only for you, but also for the world. So your philosophy of non-violence, of non-retaliation, of inoffensive life, of unselfish love based on wisdom, is exactly because you see through what will happen in the future, for whatever you do or say or think. There is a well-known story in Ceylon. It seems in the past, they had a famous monastery known as Dhamma monastery. The monastery devoted to, it is called the center of higher learning, Abhi, higher, and Dhamma, learning. Good. Now the chief monk noticed that there were about 500 monks and lay students there, all coming from very rich families, and all that sort of thing. So now he found one day that there was a meeting, some kind of discussion on Dhamma, on higher learning. What did he find? One young monk had remarked about dana. A learned professor, he gave a lecture on why a person should be generous or practice dana, giving every day in some form or other. But this professor is known not to have given any dana in any form. So this student, he was a little cocky fellow. He said, "Sir, I have a question." "Yes, my dear, what is that?" He said, "You said dana is the very heart of spirituality, but we have never seen you giving anything, sir." He said, "What? What are you talking?" "I give the whole world every day." "How, sir?" He says, "I sit down in meditation and then say, well, I am giving this house which belongs to me to the whole world. I give away my family, my wife and children as the Bodhisattva did. Even if I were a king, I will give away my kingdom. I will try to follow the Bodhisattva. The Buddha, when he was a Bodhisattva, he practiced all this. So I mentally keep on saying, I give this, I give that, I give that, and I am a great professor, especially of law. So I said, I give up even everything, even this law. Then they all laughed, all the students and everybody laughed. Sir, giving involves physical activity. Giving involves speech. Giving involves bodily activity. Action. Not merely thinking and saying, oh, I give up, give up, give up, give up, I never give. So this cocky student, he laughed and the whole lot laughed. Now the head of the institution, Maha, he was known as Kulapati. That is a vice chancellor. So he said, look, I will tell you a story. He said, now all of you are fighting and this professor is absolutely angry and his face has become red. Now I will tell you a story of the monastery where they practice vipassana meditation. They are very, very serious about, insight, practice of insight from moment to moment. You talk to them, they will say, well, everything is anicca, everything is impermanent. Impermanent, 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 everywhere they will say. So one day, one devotee brought a pot full of dahi, that means curd, very sweet curd, for the Sangha. So this dahi was given away, given to all the monks, and they enjoyed that. Then they say, sir, what about enjoying this? This is only anicca. That's all. Then somebody happened to knock that pot. So they all started, what? He has broken this pot and this and that. Now, the teacher Kulapati said quietly, he said, look here. Anicca niccang vadanti samana, samana vadanti. These samanas, these monks, are all the time nityam, nityam, all the time talking about anityam, impermanence. They are all the time talking about impermanence. Ghatasya bhinne kalaham karonti. But when a mud pot has broken, they are at right earnest, they are fighting with each other. What a wonderful knowledge. What a wonderful philosophy and your insight meditation. That is world. He says, my dear, don't be burdened with too much of your so-called philosophy and your blurting out big, big theories about this and that. Just be happy. Have metta, universal love. Be friendly with everybody. Cultivate goodwill. Cultivate unselfish love. Nothing like that. And he happened to be the very embodiment of metta, universal love. With this I conclude. May the blessings of Bhagavan Buddha surround your lives with wisdom, with abundant unselfish love. May you all be happy. Sukhino bhavantu.